Ashley, the Orange Lady. I'm here to give you the juice you need to build and sustain your career. I'm a first-gen professional, and I want to use my 20 plus years of experience, so you can learn from my mistakes and we can learn together. I've worked in all three sectors: public, private, nonprofit. And I want you to turn my journey into guidance for your career. I'm all about helping you make smart career decisions so that you can spend more time doing the things that you love outside of your career. Okay, let's talk today. Welcome and cheers. I want to talk about this anxiety cloud that is literally hovering over everyone I know, with all of the layoffs that just kind of seem to keep rolling and rolling. Folks are nervous, they're anxious, they are depleted. Personally, I get very unmotivated when I'm like, well, what does this even matter if I'm gonna lose my job in a month or 3? Like, who cares, right? Like, it's very not motivating. Some people, it's the opposite. It's incredibly motivating because they're like, let me do everything I can to solidify my place. And I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but it's also like, that won't save you. So I want to talk about some ways that we can address it, because I know we are all feeling it and not necessarily handling it in the most healthy ways, or maybe not even talking about it because it feels like not safe to even talk about. So what do we do about this looming anxiety of the possibility that the economy is just tanking and jobs are just disappearing like into thin air? Well, there's a couple of really tactical things I think you can do that will make you feel a little bit better. And even if they don't make you feel better, they will help prepare you. Okay, the first one I talk a lot about, it is updating your resume. Yeah, I know, crazy. But seriously, it is so hard when you have lost a job or you are just completely depleted to try to think about all of your wins and your outcomes and things that you've accomplished when your head is not in it, right? When you may be having situational depression, when you may be struggling to just find any kind of motivation. So before we get to that point, we want to update our resume. And hopefully it is just updating your most current situation, right? Like adding your wins and your outcomes to it so that you feel ready. There's just a sense of kind of, I don't know, whenever I update my resume, it makes me feel a little more solid. Does that even make sense? Like, what I'm trying to say is when my resume is updated, I feel like I have options, that I'm not trapped. I don't like that feeling of like, what happens if I lose this one single thing because it's the only thing I have? Updating my resume forces me to think about my wins, think about my entire career and everything I've accomplished. It's not just in this singular job or moment. One of my first directors always used to say, the job belongs to me, the career belongs to you. And that will stick with me forever. It helps me keep things in perspective. So that leads me to the second thing. That is spending time doing the things that you love and with people that bring you joy. I know that seems like, no, when there's a possibility you might lose your job, you should do everything you can at that job. But I want to reframe that. Fast forward a year from now. You lost your job a year ago. And you are looking back and you are thinking about how wild it was, how devastating it was, how you have poured yourself into this job, your colleagues, meeting deadlines, and you had sacrificed and pushed other things off to the side. And I want you to go to that place a year from now and think, was it worth it? Was it worth it to say no, to spend time with my friends, to have me time, to take a walk, to answer the phone during the workday and chat for a minute with a friend? Was it worth it to skip out on all of that and throw myself into work for a job that I lost? And anytime you do this mental exercise, you always know what to pick, right? Like when you're looking at it hindsight. So it is giving us the gift of like looking hindsight and then making the active decision of, okay, let me think about what I can control, what I can focus on, right? And that's how I spend my time. If I'm going to be in this situation where I feel anxious, that things don't feel solid as far as my job goes, that I want to make sure that I balance the decisions that I make so that my time is still feeling well spent and that I won't have regrets that I only did work project and spent all my time doing that. So that's kind of a couple of different things that I think about doing whenever I get anxious. Okay, number 3 is talking about it. Maybe just in small circles of trust that you have at work. It doesn't have to be with your entire team. It may be with one single person that you trust and feel like you can really have that conversation with, and just saying, hey, I feel nervous. How are you feeling? Is this a safe space for us to be able to express that? Like, have you heard anything? How are you approaching this? And it just kind of makes you not feel as isolated, and you feel like you have like a partner that you're going through this with, right? And that always helps. Okay, so we've addressed the fact that we have this anxiety cloud hanging over us with jobs. There are a few things that we can control. We can, 1, update our resume, always, always, always. 2, we can make sure that we make decisions about how we spend our time in the ways that are most important to us now and a year from now. 3, we will find someone or a group that we feel trusted, that we can talk to about this so that we don't feel isolated in it. Okay, that's what I'm doing. And part of me talking about this, because hey, I work in tech. Yeah, it's not fun right now every day to wake up to a new headline. So these are just some of the things that I'm thinking about and how I'm dealing with them, and also why I wanted to actually talk about this with you, because that makes me feel less alone, and that I'm not hiding the fact that I'm doing my job, but I'm nervous, right? It doesn't feel certain. And so you're not alone. And now I'm not alone. Okay, now you've got the juice, it's time to put it to use.